Ever wonder what happens when Doctor Who smashes Eurovision sparkle into a die-hard in space hostage crisis? Well, today, we'll decide if this cosmic sing-off hits a perfect 12 points or crashes harder than a confetti cannon in zero-G. Yeah, that reference will make more sense later. What's up, my know-it-alls? Okay, welcome to the next episode of Doctor Who. From what has been absolutely a banger season. I'm not gonna bury the lead. This is actually a pretty good episode as well. Very RTD1, much like a lot of what we've had to deal with. And it's funny, this episode was sold as sort of Doctor Who meets Die Hard. And it's with Eurovision, obviously, as a theme. And you'll see that gets far more intense, especially with the host from said thing. It's something I'm not really super familiar with. So at the end of the day, it's a reference that was lost on me, but I appreciated it nonetheless. I think I liked the Graham Norton cameo a little better because that at least I know who that is. But anyway, so the TARDIS lands on Harmony Arena during the 803rd Interstellar Song Contest, which I think is pretty cool callback. Hosted by, of course, the permanently cryo-frozen Rylan Clark. That's right. We get some cool cameos, like I just said, commentary cameo from Graham Norton playing a hologram of himself, which I thought was really cool. This premise, which, by the way, big spoilers if you thought, whatever, I don't know what you thought, but welcome to the show. I spoiler talk things. So there you go. Hellion activists, that's their species, specifically named Kid and Win. It's funny, they're called Hellions. They have these little like horn things in the back of their heads. But they hijack the broadcast, vent 100,000 fans into space. Yes, that happens. And then they rig a delta wave.
Give them a level. A delta wave. A delta wave!
Tell me if you remember that name. To kill roughly 3 trillion viewers throughout the known universe who watch this thing. So let that be a lesson to you. Ultimately, the Doctor and Belinda, they get separated. They each team up with sort of different stranded crew members. As they try to reverse the Mavity shield. I love that continuing ongoing running gag. This is know-it-all. Had a real kick out of it too, which I thought was fun. In order to ultimately revive the audience and see how to save everybody. You get this interesting mid-episode vision of an aged woman, a time woman.
Go back. Go back. Grandfather. Go back.
This is Susan Foreman, the Doctor's granddaughter who was left behind. They've sort of had allusions to her returning for some time now. And I feel like this is just kind of okay, fine, whatever. And ultimately, you see the Doctor sort of make a turn toward, we get to see Angry Doctor.
And you can run and hide and whimper all you like, but I will find you, because you have put ice in my heart, darlings. I will cast your body out into the void, and I will stand and watch you freeze to death.
We've never seen Chuti's version of Angry Doctor. It's funny, David Tennant was Angry Doctor all the time.
The fury of the Time Lord. And then we discovered why. Why this Doctor, who had fought with gods and demons, why he'd run away from us and hidden. He was being kind.
Matt Smith pulled it off a few times.
If I'm angry, that's new. I'm really not sure what's going to happen now.
And of course, Peter Capaldi was perpetually an Angry Doctor.
They're cross. They're independently cross. They probably want to seed from the rest of my face and set up their own independent state of eyebrows.
We also get the post-credits stinger of Mrs. Flood.
Suppose I should think of some famous last words. Let the battle begin.
Who bigenerates into the Rani, finally unmasking her season-long mystery. Really? I got nothing. Sure. It's a thing. It's a thing that happened. I need to make sure to preface up front. I did like the episode a lot. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Had reminded me of a whole bunch of different Russell T Davies things that we've seen in terms of Doctor Who. I feel like it fits perfectly well in the mix of everything. It's why I probably should have waited to record this, but I just finished watching it and I wanted to record it as soon as possible. Primarily because my thoughts are all very fresh right now. That being said, writer Juno Dawson, the person who wrote this, is one of us, a fan, a younger fan who's seen Doctor Who since the reboot started, like really been into all that and whatnot. They marry the writer marries sort of that campy Eurovision glitz that we've seen to this like disaster movie sort of level stakes. And again, BBC Press notes say Russell Davies pitched it as Eurovision meets Die Hard. Okay, sure. I guess I can kind of see that comparison. The Eurovision thing, I only know based on like the movie Eurovision and some things I've seen online during that time of year. A lot of TikToks came out and whatnot, so I'm very familiar with what Eurovision is, or at least the idea of it. Not so much who Rylan was, but I in prepping for this, so I at least like, I don't know, some guy with a beard and a crushed velvet suit. I don't know. But no, I wanted to make sure that I really got an opportunity to sort of know who he is, to understand the actual impact and why that mattered. Big criticism I have right at the gate is, and I don't mind it, and maybe okay, the more there were a lot of rapid tonal sort of whiplash feel from everything that was happening. Like everything was just 1 minute you have a confetti rocket gag.
You're not seriously going to use a confetti cannon to fly through space.
Which saves his life, but you get on-screen genocide, and it's sort of, I don't know, man. It created what I think what we as critics call sort of a land of contrasts, if you will. And I found myself, okay, I was fine being in the car for the ride, no issue. But it's like when you're going with somebody and they all of a sudden they just don't quite know how to shift gears. So you get this constant, oh God, and then and you're thrown back and forth. Like that's what I was feeling. I was feeling very tossed to and fro. And not in the exciting way that an action movie or even roller coaster style Doctor Who has ever done it before. So, eh, I feel like it could have been a little bit better, you know? And some of the performances and cameos that we had, Ncuti Gatwa, of course, flips from joyous to sort of fangirling to wrathful Time Lord, and uh, it all happens very fast. You know, at the very end, Belinda kind of comes in, he's doing this, essentially torturing with the Nintendo Power Glove, and he's hurting the villain, the guy, I say villain. I don't I'm ambiguous to him. Obviously, tossing everyone into space was a bad sign, and the fact he was gonna kill 3 trillion people, bad thing also. But at the same time, they give the backstory, and I'm supposed to be sympathetic? The ice in my heart monologue landed so hard. I think while I don't necessarily know that it rivals the likes of Full Scale Model of War or even the Doctor's come and take it all, baby, from from Matt Smith's era, or even any of several that David Tennant did. It's good, and it was good. Mainly, I think it was good because it was us seeing the Doctor be angry, and we have yet to see that from Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor from 15. And I liked it because I was like, "Oh god, there it is. There's that range that we okay, okay." I jokingly have said in the past that for me, the selling moment for Matt Smith was the moment when he faces off with the Atraxi in 11th Hour. And I went, "Ah." Likewise, for me, the moment I bought that I bought Peter Capaldi's Doctor was in the episode Listen. And mainly because in the episode Listen, I feel like that episode's written for him. Okay, so same thing. I feel this now. I've thought to this point. I've kind of thought that Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor was a little bit vapid, a little surface. You know, he'd cry a drop of a hat for almost anything. He wasn't really big into I don't know. He was facing off with these. This was the first episode that didn't have some sort of vengeful god angle. And I was like, "Hey, we're back to sci-fi Doctor Who. Okay, cool. What's going on?" And, and it was fun in that respect. By the way, I know I'm being harsh as a critic, but at the same time, I did truly enjoy the episode. I really did. Vradisita's Belinda, she really is the sort of emotional, or she's the source of empathy. She's the emotional anchor of this episode, without a doubt. And I think that that moment that she confronts him as he's torturing this guy, and she looks back, and he's sits there, and he's funny. He behaves as if he got caught. Like, he looks like he got a hand caught in the cookie jar, literally. He's like, and I know, I think I understand why that was sort of the way things went, because the Doctor's always been one of those people where he gets real vengeful and he's angry, and then all of a sudden you reel him back. And I feel like he was upset. He tells Belinda later that nonsense that he was like, "Well, I lost all my people, and I saw that many people get thrown into space, and it was like watching my people die." And this, I'm like, because the idea that there were 32 trillion people, whatever else, who were going to die from the wave, the whatever Delta wave.
Give the man a medal. A Delta wave. A Delta wave!
A lot of callbacks, I think, is what kind of bogs it down for me. I love the fact that Rylan and Norton embrace sort of their meta casting. I think it was really cool. And plus, Graham Norton got the really cool plot twist reveal of that what happened to Earth. And we find out that essentially we're in sort of I'm wondering, like, is the universe cracked again? Like, what's the deal? It felt very much like that moment where they realize, oh, the Earth has been destroyed, and then of course what happens? They get to that moment. And I'm like, where's River? Where's River? You know what I mean? It felt, again, this season, wonderfully so, has felt like, hey, let's play the hits. I said this last week, and I'm okay with that. I really am, because it's fan service that I like, and I'm down for it. Let's talk about the social commentary that's going on. So I have noticed sort of the more, and because I've believe it or not, I've been rewatching this season. One thing I can say, I've not rewatched anything from season one, but I thought myself, like, I went back to episode 1 of this season, and I've been rewatching them, and I've watched them several times each. I've enjoyed the heck out of this season, but it's starting to become more evident to me that there's this messaging. It hasn't bothered me, because it's been really messy. And this episode's no different. The kids' revenge plot basically springs from the corporation, which is Doctor Who parlance for the government, I guess. And the corporation's exploitation of Helia's poppy crops, which I guess is supposed to be like an allegory for colonial resource theft, maybe? The episode itself sort of interrogates the concepts of xenophobia, media spectacle, and whether sort of extremist violence can ever truly raise awareness, but at least those are some of the ideas that I was able to glean from it. And I'm purposely sort of trying to, because once you realize there is such messaging going on, you stop and you sit here and go, well, is it everywhere? And is everything a message? And I don't know, and I could be 100% wrong, and none of those things could be real, and the actual message may be lost on me, and that's, whatever. So let's go to some of the big reveals. Susan Foreman in the Vision. Okay. It's sort of it's a tease, so to speak. I guess online when I was looking through some, I needed to gauge my pulse on this one. And so I went online and I started looking up other people's reviews, and started looking up, but printed reviews, like actual reviews. I went on X and saw what those people are saying. And I went to, same thing with like Blue Sky Threads and some other places, Instagram, and whatnot. And the one thing that I noticed is it's that there are some who believe that the whole Susan Foreman idea hijacked the focus from the main plot. I feel like the main plot was kind of the main plot was blurry enough that happened. How about that? So it isn't that Susan Foreman took away from the main plot, it's that the main plot wasn't strong enough to hold our attention. And I gotta get that, especially because I watched, I love the guys over at Bergen Beard. They're actually really good. They're a little harsh. I feel like they're a little overcritical this season. That's okay. By the way, just in case somehow this gets back to you guys, I love you. So one of the things they pointed out was they should have leaned, and I realized once I heard them say it, as much as people might think, well, this tainted your opinion. No. Again, I enjoyed the episode. I had fun with it. I don't mind it. But I feel like when they said in their review, it should have leaned heavier into the diehard of it all. And the first thing I did, because it's funny, I was actually finishing the review right before I was setting up, getting some things in place to do this one. And I remember I stopped, rushed over, paused the video, rewound it a bit, and I was like, "Did I hear that right?" And I remember I said to myself, I was like, "That's totally what it stop writing a better episode, guys. Legit. Just knock it off." And because they totally were. And I was like, "Cut it out, man." I was so funny because they were so good at when they said that. Like, they were like, "Yeah, they're like, the doctor should relax, lay back, put his feet up, take his shoes off, and then Belinda gets thrown into the," and I'm like, "Dude, Judy running around barefoot? Brilliant. Stop writing better episodes." Because you're right. The more I think about it, if you really wanted to sell me on the Die Hard aspect, do that. Because there really wasn't much Die Harding that went on. Like, let's be real. That wasn't a thing in this. Like, nobody was in ventilation shafts, and nobody had to sneak around anywhere. Everybody was pretty much where they were supposed to be. You had Belinda and the Doctor on somewhat. I honestly think it was the same hallway, just different sides and redressed. And I could be right, I could be wrong. They may or may not have that may or may not have been the case, especially the way production schedules work and things like that. All right, let's discuss the thing that I have very blatantly not given any kind of F's about. Mrs. Flood being the Rani and the Rani bi-generates. Okay, it's a classic villain return. It's thrilled some longtime fans online that I found. And I didn't mind it. The problem is I was never see, I knew I was into Doctor Who during several times when the Master was a thing, so that meant something to me when the ma when you get the reveal of Dr. Yana as the Master. I saw the Daleks, so the first time you hear, "Exterminate," I'm like, "Oh my god, it's wonderful." Same thing with the Cybermen and whatnot. I saw Classic Who in those moments, so when I watched the reboot in 2005 on forward, I was excited when certain things happened. I wasn't that big a fan, like, I never saw Sutek. That was never a thing for me. So seeing that, I never saw the toy maker. So again, didn't matter to me when the reveal happened. Thought it was cool, great, cool new character. Same thing with this. I knew the Rani was a thing, but she means nothing to me. And what's funny is you would think even in context, I might be able to find something to grasp onto here because I love this era and I love Russell's work. But the way they handled Mrs. Flood, it just wasn't. It didn't do anything for me. Not to mention the fact that now you're reintroducing the idea. So what, everyone's gonna buy Generate moving forward? Is this a product of something that's happened? Is this leftover from the Flux or any number of things? Like, what, why is this happening? I don't understand. Because they don't make it clear in any way, shape, or form. I figured our Dr. David Tennant, I figured 14 by generated into 15 because 14 was going through somewhat of an existential crisis. 13 had just had to deal with all of those issues having to do with the stolen regeneration, the Master putting a face on the whole thing, all this stuff that had gone on and suddenly thrust back into her own body. And then here now you're going to regenerate. And it's like, poof. Okay, I can follow that logic somewhat. I don't understand why the Rani bi-generated. No clue. No idea. I also don't know who's the actress who's playing the Rani, the new Rani. Sorry, the Rani Prime, I guess we'll call her. I don't know. And Mrs. Flood is whatever. And she's, again, I didn't care enough. So it's just, and the whole thing felt really rushed and sort of visually flat for me. You know. I think direction and production are great. I think the guys did wonderful. Bro, I looked him up. Ben Williams, who stages the zero-G crowd ejection. It was chillingly beautiful. The minute it starts to happen, and it happens in the Doctor's periphery off to the side, and you see them begin to rise up in sort of a thing, and I'm like, "Oh!" And visually, it was very interesting, and then they cut back to that wide, that real spectacular wide that shows the giant arm, the Deep Space Nine wings of the space station, and you see everything and you're like, "Oh my, it was like more." I was like, "That's incredible." And I looked over, Mrs. Know-It-All was like, mouth again. Yeah, it was good. I enjoyed the visual of it. Murray Gold's score was okay, sure. It smartly kind of weaves, it weaves this what I assume is Eurovision bop type music in with the tenseness, I thought it worked, you know, especially during the hostage beats and whatnot. There's not been any official release yet, but BBC, the press kit for BBC I checked says these are original songs, and even Murray has said they have a backlog and they are supposed to be Murray, because we're on first name basis, but even he said that they're working on coming out with sort of more information, or not information, more releases rather, music, but he doesn't know quite what is or whatever. So anyway. Reviews range overall from blatantly self-selecting campy romp to sort of a rare misfire weighed down by theme overload. I would tend to lean a little bit toward the second, but at the same time, it was still fun. I'm not as harsh as many other critics. I do feel like there were big ideas, but everything feels overstuffed. As my rewatch continues of this season, this will probably be the episode I skip. And in the future, because I'm like, or maybe, I don't know if I skip it, whatever. We'll see. Because there's things I did like about it. And I think I'll probably end up not holding too many things against it afterwards. Digital Spy Online hyped the crossover as sort of the wildest episode of all. And I'm just like, really, guys? Wildest? I mean, come on. Overall, I didn't mind any of those elements. I feel like they missold it a little bit, and it was, again, really fast on the gears. You know, that's about it. Which one hit you harder? Did the Doctor's sort of vengeful rage, or are you one of the people who cares about the Rani thing? Tell me why. Jump in the comments. I would love to hear why. I'm not talking about arguing with you. I mean, genuinely, sell me on the importance of the Rani or why she matters. Because, again, I've never really I didn't know much about her before, other than she existed, and I don't necessarily know the importance that she's going to have now. So, sound off below, smash that like button, subscribe, as you never miss a know-it-all deep dive. But otherwise, let's get into this. There you go. Now you know, and if knowing's half the battle, you're halfway to know it all yourself. What is the know-it-all index for the episode 6 of season 2 of Doctor Who? I have an averaged score, okay? For the craftsmanship and all the high-octane spectacle and sort of the bold themes, and really I didn't think it was bad acting. I sort of attributed some of the things that others have pointed out about, like, it sounded like everybody was speaking stiff dialogue. I always associate a lot of that stuff to the TARDIS translation matrix. I swear, it sounds stupid and it sounds like an excuse, but I never really sit here and go, oh, that sucks because of blah, blah, blah. Now, I was not a Chibnall fan, so I felt like most of the 13 Doctors stuff always felt clunky, the dialogue, not flat, it's just clunky. Like they have to overly explain stuff. But anyway, for all those positive things I mentioned before, it gets a 9 out of 10. Now, the second Mrs. Flood reveal happens, which conceptually, fine. I'm willing to concede conceptually it's cool. Russell's reveals most of the time have always been some variation of that. But it was a really clunky delivery. There was zero buildup, and I just didn't care. So 6 out of 10 for that. You know, averaged but weighted to story impact, my know-it-all index for the Interstellar Song Contest stands about at 8 out of 10. With a footnote that reveal needs to ultimately sing louder next time. Anyways, all right, guys, comment below. Let me know what you thought. Were you singing along with it, or did you think it was a sour note? Let me know in the comments below. I can't wait to talk to you more about this next week. Looking forward. We're looking on the barrel of the penultimate episode and then finally the end. But yeah, man, until next week, never forget, everyone loves a know. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. And again, I'd love to hear more about what you thought of the episode and what you thought of all the various reveals. Jump down in the comment section and let's talk.